This is Fitness Blender's at-home cardio and toning boot camp. In this routine, we're going to be doing one round of 15 different exercises and using an interval of 40 seconds on and 20 seconds off. You're not going to need any equipment for this routine except for an optional exercise mat. Let's go ahead and get started with our first exercise, the squat jacks. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Squat down really nice and low. You want to get those hips as low as possible, then hop those feet in and out as quickly as you can. As soon as those feet touch the ground, you want them hopping right back the opposite direction. Again, you want to keep that back nice and flat, just like a regular squat, and you want to move those legs as quickly as you possibly can while keeping those hips as low as you possibly can. Now you're going to feel this all the way through that leg, the top of that thigh, the bottom of that thigh, inside and outside thigh, as well as that calf. You're also going to be feeling this in those butt muscles, as well as the hip flexor, the front of that hip, and that lower back and abdominals. And we're almost done, just about 5 seconds left. And go ahead and let it relax. You got 20 seconds of rest, which is also your time to set up for the next exercise. Our next exercise is the plank extensions. You're going to be doing this from a push-up position. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. You're going to start with that right hand and left foot, squeeze them up really nice and high, then switch over to that left hand and right foot. Just keep alternating back and forth. Try to keep that back nice and flat. Keep those hips low. You want to try to make sure that that arm and leg stays as straight as possible so that elbow is almost completely locked out, that knee's almost completely locked out, squeezing as tight and as high up as you can without letting those hips come up. Just keep alternating back and forth, moving very slowly. The slower you go, the easier it's going to be for that balance. You should feel this through the back of your shoulder, that butt muscle again, all the way through that lower back and upper back. You're also going to feel this quite a bit in your abdominal muscles, your hip flexor, and your quadricep. All right, go ahead and let it relax. You got 20 seconds rest again. Go ahead and stand up for the next exercise. Our next exercise is going to be the alternating side leg raises. You're just going to be lifting your legs out to the side for this one, standing up nice and straight and tall. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Trying to keep that back nice and straight. Try not to let that torso lean left or right. Let those hips kick very much. You're going to nice and slow lift your left leg up, squeezing up and out to the side as high as you can without leaning over sideways. Then you can do the same thing on the right side. Bring that right leg up really nice and high. Squeeze it up. Then nice and slow let that leg drop back down. Try to make sure that you're keeping that torso straight up and down. As that leg comes up, you're going to want to lean away from that leg that you're lifting. So try to keep that torso straight up and down, perpendicular to the ground. Now you should primarily feel this exercise on the outside thigh and the oblique of the leg you're lifting, but you also might feel it on the one that you're standing on as well. All right, go ahead and let it relax. You got another 20 seconds rest. Go ahead and stay standing for this next exercise. If you have a step or a bench handy, you'll want to use that for this exercise, so go ahead and set that up. We're going to be doing calf raises next. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Both feet at the same time, nice and slow. Press up on those toes as high as you possibly can. Try to keep your balance. Try not to use anything around you to help you keep your balance. You want to do it all on your own. Pressing up on those toes as high as you can every single time. Slowly letting them back down, but don't let that heel completely touch. You want to always have that heel just barely hovering off the ground. If you're doing this off of a step or a bench, you'll be able to get a lot more range of motion out of this and actually get a lot more calf development as well. Almost done, just about 5 seconds left. And let it relax. All right, another 20 seconds rest. All right, go ahead and get your mat set up if you have one handy. Otherwise, go ahead and lay down on your back for this next exercise. Next, we're going to be doing crisscross crunches. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Bring one leg up to a 90-degree angle. The other leg's going to be extended straight out, just a few inches off the ground. Nice and slow, crunch back and forth. Left elbow to right knee, right elbow to left knee. Get a tight squeeze every single time, rotating those shoulders as much as you can. You're going to feel this quite a bit in your abdominal muscles, your obliques, as well as your hip flexor and quadricep. Now to make these more difficult, make sure you're really focusing on that form and you're not letting that knee come in past your hip joint. If you actually keep your knee outside of your hip joint a little bit further away from you, then it's actually going to make this a lot harder on those abdominal muscles. If you want it to be a little bit easier, just go ahead and tuck that knee in over top of your stomach just a little bit. And we're almost done. And let it relax. All right, you got another 20 seconds rest. Go ahead and flip over onto your stomach for this next exercise. Next, we've got back bow crossovers. If you've got a yoga block handy, go ahead and set it out in between those hands. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Arch everything up really nice and high. You're going to pull everything to the left, drop it down, barely tap, then bring everything back up to the center. Continue on over to the right as you drop back down as far to the right as you possibly can, and then move it back. Keep those arms and legs nice and straight. And just rotate left to right, squeezing as much as you can left to right every single time. Now, if you have that yoga block handy, you're going to sit it lengthways, so it's pointing up and down rather than flat sideways. And you're actually going to use that as a marker to get your hands up over top of. It's just a nice way to keep a consistent range of motion every single time. And just a couple seconds left. And let it relax. All right, another 20 seconds rest. Go ahead and flip around on your back for this next one. The next exercise we have coming up is the windshield wipers. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Legs straight up in the air. If you want a little bit easier version with those knees bent, and you're just going to rotate those hips and legs left to right as far as you can possibly control. Now, if you can't go as far as I can, that's perfectly fine. You just want to make sure that you're keeping those shoulders completely flat against the ground, pushing yourself as far as possible without letting those shoulders come up off the ground. Now, if those shoulders come up off the ground, you've gone a little bit too far. You've gone a little bit past your comfort zone, a little bit past your own physical ability. So just kind of limit that range of motion just a little bit more, making sure those shoulders stay completely flat. And just about 5 seconds left. We're almost done. And let it relax. All right, let's go ahead and take a break here. Go ahead and catch your breath. Grab a drink of water if you want one. If you can, if you're not too tired, you want to try to keep moving. You want to either walk, jog, or do high knees. Just anything that keeps you moving. All right, we're coming to the end of our break. Go ahead and get ready for our next exercise. Next, we're going to be doing a crossover lunge, so go ahead and stand up if you're not already. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. You're going to start out by stepping forward with your right foot, cross it over in front of your left, then step back up again, then step out with your left foot, crossing it over in front of your right. So you want to try to keep your hips pointing straight forward, but cross your feet one in front of the other. So you're trying to step across as far as is comfortable, as far as you can control, as well as stepping forward the same distance as a normal lunge. The main thing you want to focus on is as you step sideways, your hips are going to try to turn the same direction that you're stepping across. So keep really focused on making sure those hips stay straight forward, those shoulders stay straight forward. And we're almost done. 5 seconds left. And let it relax. All right, another 20 seconds rest. And next we have jumping jacks. This is just a traditional jumping jack, nothing special. We're just trying to keep that heart rate up nice and high. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Bring those arms up over your head at the same time as bringing your legs apart, and then snapping them right back down as those legs come back together. Just keep that motion going nice and consistent. You want to keep this motion as fast as you can without being out of control. Now you should feel this to the outside of that ankle, the outside of that knee and hip, as well as the inside of that thigh, and you're also going to feel it quite a bit in those shoulders and even a little bit into those lats possibly. Now just be really careful to keep those arms nice and rigid and that shoulder nice and contracted the entire time. Don't just swing those arms, otherwise you run the risk of possibly injuring that shoulder. And we're almost finished with these. 5 seconds left. And let it relax. All right, 20 seconds of rest again. Go ahead and stay standing for this next exercise. Coming up next, we have the ice skaters. This is actually a deceptively difficult exercise to do. Let's go ahead and get ready. and begin. Now you want to try to keep your leg and your torso perfectly straight up and down, or as close to it as you can, while rotating one leg from in front to all the way behind you, and then bringing it back in front again, then slowly down. Then you're going to switch off to the other leg and do the same thing again. So the main trick here is trying to get that leg as high as you can and keeping as high as you can without letting your torso lean over. It's going to try to do it a little bit, but try to constantly fight against it, trying to keep that torso straight up and down. Now through the course of this motion, you actually feel it quite a bit through your hip flexor and quadricep, the outside of your thigh, as well as your butt and your hamstring, not to mention the muscles in the leg that you're standing on as well. Alright, go ahead and let it relax. We got another 20 seconds rest. For our next exercise, we're going to be doing lateral jumps. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Start with a nice small jump to begin with, left to right, then start pushing that jump wider and wider and wider as you can control. Now still trying to keep those hips as low as possible and trying to stay on that foot as short a time as possible, jumping back and forth as quickly as you can. Just make sure, like I said, you want to only go as far as you can control. So if those legs are pretty tired and you don't think you can handle it, then slow the motion down and jump a little bit narrower. Otherwise, if you have a little bit of strength left in those legs, start trying to push that jump wider and wider and wider. And just about 5 seconds left. We're almost done. Keep pushing it. And let it relax. Another 20 seconds rest. Alright, go ahead and drop back down on the floor for this next one, because next we have the Pilates toe taps. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. We're going to be doing toe taps with both legs if you want the harder version. You're going to bring those legs up to a tabletop position, so 90 degree on that knee, 90 degree on that hip. Keep that back plastered against the ground, then nice and slow, drop those feet out, barely tap those toes, then bring those legs right back up, making sure that knee doesn't come in past that hip joint. Now if you want a little bit easier version, you can do this one leg at a time, so you drop your left leg down, tap that heel, bring it back up, then drop that right leg down, tap that heel, and bring it back up. The main thing you want to focus on is just doing a nice, slow, controlled motion and focus on that breathing. Exhale as those legs go away from you. Inhale as those legs come back in. Pulling that belly button to your spine, pressing that lower back to the floor. And go ahead and let it relax. You've got another 20 seconds rest. Go ahead and kick that mat out of the way and stand up. Our next exercise is the ventral hops. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Remember, nice small jump to start out with. You're just going to jump straight forward and straight back. Nice small hop to begin with, and then start pushing it bigger and bigger and bigger as far as you can control. You want to focus on trying to keep that motion nice and quick. You want to barely let that toe touch before you're jumping right back the opposite direction. So make sure you're keeping everything nice and solid and under control. You're going to feel this exercise predominantly in your hip flexors, your quadriceps, so the front of your thigh, the front of your hip, as well as your butt and your hamstrings. Not to mention, you're going to feel it a ton in those calves. By the time you're done with this, those calves should be burning. And we're almost done, just about 5 seconds left. And let it relax. All right, go ahead and get that mat back out if you have one handy. We're going to be laying back down on the ground for this one. Our next exercise is the reverse crunch. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Get those legs up nice and straight above those hips. And you're nice and slow. Try to draw those hips up off the ground, pushing them up towards the ceiling as high as you possibly can. At the same time as getting a little bit of a crunch forward with those shoulders. Now the main thing you want to focus on is just trying to drive those hips up, getting a nice tight squeeze in those lower abdominal muscles, pulling those hips up off the ground as high as you can. Now it's going to be very, very tempting to swing your legs. Try to keep your legs as stationary as you can. You want to just push them straight up rather than letting them fall away from you and then swinging them back up to get those hips to move. The more you keep those legs stationary, the more work those abdominal muscles are going to have to do. Only 5 seconds left. And let it relax. All right, another 20 seconds rest. This is our last exercise. Go ahead and flip over. We're going to be starting from a plank position for this one. We're doing push-up planks next. Go ahead and get ready. And begin. Go ahead and come up into that full plank position. You're going to come up onto your left hand, then your right hand, then bring that right hand right back down again, then followed by that left. That right hand comes back up, that left hand comes back up, and then that left hand goes right back down, followed by that right. So you're just going to be cycling every single time, trying to lead this motion with the opposite hand every single time you come up. So the easiest way to do this is, like I said, at the very top of that range of motion, whichever hand is the last one to come up is the first hand to go right back down. Otherwise, it's left, right, left, right. Now you're going to feel this quite a bit in your abdominal muscles, your hip flexors, and your quadriceps, as well as your arms, your shoulder, and a lot in your chest. And we're almost done. And let it relax. All right, good job. Workout complete. You just finished Fitness Blenders Cardio and Toning Bootcamp.